Okay, this video is basically for all my friends back in Phoenix. This is a little bit of the stuff that I've learned along the way that can help you get out of the situation that you're in. Start off being grateful for everything that you get. I don't care what it is. If it's a little bit of a cigarette or the breath in your air, the air in your lungs, the donation that you get when you're hungry, be very grateful. That's going to start bringing in abundance. And abundance comes from the mind frame of being grateful for it. When you're not grateful for it, you're not going to find that abundance. The universe, you're basically telling the universe that you are good with what you got. And obviously, if you're living on the streets like I usually, know that all of my friends were, you're not good with what you got. And you're not being grateful for it. Once you start being grateful for it, you'll start seeing that it will increase your abundance. And remember, abundance is not money. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not money. Most of the time, what you got is everything you need. Everything that's going to make you content. That's abundance. And if you can make do with what you got there, and you can be grateful for it, that's when more comes in. The second thing is know your worth. Know your value. You're an incredible person. Everybody on the street that I met, you had a crazy story. You have gone through more trauma than most of the people I have ever encountered in better situations. And yet, you think you're less than. You're never less than. You're valuable. All of you are valuable. And you all need to understand what value is. Value is your presence, your laughter, your compassion, your love, everything. So, when people disrespect you, which I know a lot of you did to me, what I should have done a long time ago is cut you off right there. The moment you find your value not being appreciated, cut that person out. Because then they're only using you. And then you don't know your own value. So you want to be able to cut those people out. Once you start using gratefulness and start knowing your worth, things start changing. Things start really changing. And then what you want to do is try not to be a shithead. When you need something, don't steal it. I know that sounds pretty basic, but for the people that I knew on the street, that was pretty common. People would steal from their own friends. People would steal from neighbors. People would steal whatever they need at that time because most of them were addicted to fentanyl. And in fentanyl world, every 2.5 hours, you're going on a quest to find more fentanyl. I never been through that. All of you know that I've been opiate intolerant and I never went down that road. One of the greatest things I've learned since I've been out here, don't vent your problems, okay? Even though if you read my Facebook, I had to call out some people and do it several times because I'm dealing with something that is not a human. It's a demon in disguise. And I needed other agencies and other people to see basically what I was going through so I can get my manifestation. But when you vent your problems, when you vent them over and over again, especially with your friends, when, oh my God, this just happened to me. You're manifesting those problems to happen more often and continue to happen more often. So your best bet in this situation is to keep it inside. Nobody really needs to know about what you just went through. You already took care of the problem, or the problem is still there, but venting it doesn't really get you an answer. It doesn't really change the situation. It just makes you relive it. And anything that you're talking about, reliving it, it's going to reoccur. So by you not saying anything, learning your lesson that you caught there and cutting a person out, maybe they disrespected you, maybe they didn't. But your main thing is that you want to be able to notice what happens at that time when you start not venting and you just move on. Is that you get a little bit more favor in your corner. Things start changing in that way. Those are a couple of things that I want people to start doing. You got to raise your vibration up if you want to come into the 5D earth. The 5D earth is coming. Jesus is coming. Getting good with God is another thing. Getting good with God, imagine it like a seesaw. And you're a pretty weighty person on one side of a seesaw, and there's nobody on the other side. Is your ass going to be in the air? Or are you going to be on the ground? So if you give God a little bit more, and then give him a little bit more each day, and we're talking praises, thanking him, being grateful, telling him, bless, just a simple prayer before you go to bed. When you wake up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m., just say, I love you, God. Just saying that alone will make that seesaw on the other side start getting a little heavier. And then your ass is off the ground. Now you're rising a little bit. When you rise and you give that seesaw more and more God, pretty soon you're going to be high enough to see over the trees. And then you see over the mountains. Then you raise up to the firmament and you look down on earth. Because he wants you to give more to him than you do to yourself. Somebody do you wrong? Don't take vengeance out with yourself. I know you got street cred and all that other stuff. You got to keep your reputation. But I didn't really retaliate when people did me wrong, did I? No. I kind of just let it be. And yeah, you could say that they did me wrong, and I didn't retaliate. There's a couple times I did, when I find it a grievous that what they did, and sometimes it's hard. But one of the main thing I would like to tell people is that when you are at a point where you might really change your life by doing something rash, give it 3 days. 3 days. 3. Because the way that the universe works things, the way that God and angels work things is that they got to move people, places, and things in the right order in order to give you information that will give you the proper information to deal with that situation. So let's say somebody did this a grievous thing to a friend, but you're not sure which friend, but you have an inkling which one it is. If you rush over there right there and beat that guy up and make it like that, there's a good chance that tomorrow you'll find out that that person wasn't involved. And then you're like, shit, I kind of work with that person and they're going to not want to work with me anymore. And I kind of put myself in a real bad situation. Or you get arrested and now you're in an even worse situation. Give it 3 days. In 3 days' time, the universe will be able to move around things, get you to understand that those things were necessary to be moved around, and then you'll find out, oh my God, it wasn't him at all or her at all. It was this other person. And if I went over there on Friday night and killed him and beat him up, I would have screwed myself over this, over that, over this, and over that. I can't tell you how many times waiting 3 days made all the difference. So even if I'm not there, guys, I still think about you. I think about Ellie. I think about Charlie and, Kat and Eric, so many, just so many. But I don't see any of you commenting on anything that I post. Why? You know me better than anyone. And yet you all stay silent. Makes me almost not want to come back when I can bless you to bless you, which is going to be pretty soon. Everything's working out in my favor right now. I've done all the hard work. I have gone through more shit than most anybody else has. I could tell you that none of you had gone through the spiritual attacks that I have gone through lately. And I'm doing pretty good. It took a lot to get out of it. Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit irate at times. Anybody else would. However, I didn't make me bitter inside. I'm a kind of a person that just kind of turns the other cheek and say, God, if I had vengeance, please take it over. And God loves taking vengeance from you and giving it to the one that they deserve. That's his job. When you take your own matters in your own hands, you're putting yourself outside of his realm. And you're probably thinking, oh my God, Michelle's turned totally Jesus-like. No, we found each other. We found each other out here because I was going through some serious stuff. And there was nobody else. You guys weren't around. I was by myself. And yeah, I found him. He found me. He put his arm around me. And he started protecting me. He can do that for all of you. All of you. If you give that seesaw, the other seat on that seesaw, some attention. And let's say you're in a horrible place. The most horrible place you could be. And there's no way out. I want you to go to YouTube. I want you to pull out Psalms, songs. Just every psalm verse is a song. And there's all this music. Put on your headphones so nobody's going to look at you weird. And walk around and listen to them. When you get a chance, put your arms up. Get emotional when you can. And you're going to see that at least one of the wishes that you talk to him about on that little walk around the block or whatever you need to do while you're doing that, one of those wishes are going to come true. Got it. If you read on my Facebook, I said I was looking for something to smoke. You know, so I quit the meth. I quit, not my pot, me and my pot. But I didn't have any out here. And I was in a bad situation, and I asked God for pot. And sure enough, it came out of nowhere the next day after I would put on Psalm songs. And he's like, you guys, any of you want weed? I'm like, what the hell? And the craziest thing is that it had a lighter that said, shine your light. Shine your light. Come on. That's a little weird. But that's a little cool. If you want to get yourself out of this situation, you're going to have to give a little bit of effort towards the one that created you. And he'll have your back. Stop being a shithead. Stop being a, you know how I lived on the street. I never lurped your stuff. You never saw me with any of your items. I shared everything that I had when I had it. Why? Because I always know the more was going to come. Because I was always grateful when I got it. That's why I was always sharing my wax and my weed with everyone. Why? Because I wanted your company. And I know that you guys were in a bad situation, and if I could make a head change, I'll make a head change. But I really wanted your company to see a little bit of how I conduct my everyday life. And what I enjoy with my everyday life was coming out and sharing it with you. You all know how generous I was. I'd give you anything if I had it. All right? Unless you done me dirty too many times, then I'd tell you no. Or you disrespected me too many times, and I just didn't want to give it. Or you never reciprocated. You know, a couple people I already talked to before I left about not reciprocating. But, you know, when it comes down to people like Cloud, Georgie, um, Otis, all my friends, some reciprocated, some didn't. Some are really working hard to try to make their life better, like my street son, Georgie. You're looking good, you're doing good. Keep yourself alive. My street son died 58 times on fentanyl and came back to life. He has a purpose here. And if he doesn't know it, I hope he does now. And I still think about him every day. So remember that, okay? I love you all. I miss you all. Right now, I took a high-speed freight train, out of Texas, and believe it or not, I'm in the middle of the country right now, in the middle of Kansas. Who would have thought? Just where God wanted me. He wanted me far away from everyone. So I came out here. I'll be leaving in 2 days. But that's, isolation is one of those things that if you really want to get leveled up quick, isolate yourself. Get a family member to take you in for a couple weeks and just spend it out there and make sure there is no drugs that will, like pull you in and keep you in the same vibration that you were. You got to sacrifice something in order to make room for something better. So if you remove the meth or the fentanyl, better things will come. Better things will come. But they can't come if you don't make room for them. And sometimes they're not going to be at your vibration level. Remember, like attracts like. And when you want something that everybody else on the street don't have, but you want it, but you're still messing around with those same vibrations over and over again, your like is only going to attract the same low vibrational like. But if you put your mind and you remove something that is keeping you out of that low vibration, and removing that, you will find that you're going to go up. And by getting rid of that one vice, if you want to put it, and God's not going to make it so you can't get into a different state of mind. He knows there's something good for you. And you'll know it. Some people, meth is the thing that works for you. I just haven't seen much of it work, but there's people out there that I know that are drinkers. And God doesn't mind them drinking. He's backing them up. Even though they have a pretty decent problem with it, they're not a shithead on it. So the thing that causes you the least amount of drama when you're on it would be the drug of choice. And use that as your crutch while you're going up. And eventually you won't be needing any of it. Because I usually had to get stoned to get a download. And today I ran out, didn't have any all day, and yet I got a download to talk to all of you about this. And that was my job for the day. And when you get those nudges, those feelings when you see, or when you go, wow, I'm high, it'd be really cool if I did that, and you get this little thought in your head. That is your angels nudging you, saying, do it, do that. And if you ignore it, if you just put it to the back of your mind, and you ignore that over and over again, guess what's happening? You're missing out on callings. These are things that are calling you, talking to you, trying to make you understand what to do. And if you ignore it, that's on you. But if you do it, good things will happen. Great things will happen. Because you're listening to your angels, ancestors, and guides. And if you don't believe in Jesus or anything like that, call it spirit, call it universe. You don't have to put the G word on it. You're going to eventually find out it is him. But if you want to call it spirit or whatever you feel less, because I know the word God kind of made me, I don't know, it just kind of bothered me. It doesn't anymore. But it did when I was younger. You know, because everybody talks about, oh, you got to find God, you got to find God. Finding God is nothing more than just listening to your own nudges when you get them. And you're going to find out God finds you. You don't find him. He'll find you. He found me. I don't understand this all. I'm learning as I go. And those are the best things I've learned so far. So do yourself a favor. Put a couple of those works. I've been on the streets of Phoenix for over 10 years. 10 years. Actually going on 13 years. Wow, that sucks. But yeah, it's about that long. And if somebody would have told me this years ago, I think I would have been in such a better place years ago. But I'm just learning this now. So, and maybe coming from me versus a pastor or preacher or somebody else that has influence that kind of looks down at you and try to, oh, you know, they haven't gone through the shit, but they're telling me how to live my life. Who the fuck are them? A lot of people think that way. Well, this is somebody who's been through it. You lived it with me. You've seen how I taken care of everybody as much as I can, and I loved everyone. I genuinely loved. It was not a fake thing. It was genuine love. But if you show me disrespect, when I come back there and try to bless you and try to make sure that everybody's going to be in a good place other than the streets, that is going to be fun, enjoyable, your own place, that type of stuff, if I come back and you guys are kind of like being the same way that you are with me, don't be surprised if I say, get the hell out of my energy and walk away. Why? Because I don't put up with that shit anymore. I know my worth. You should too. And once you know your own worth, you'll understand what I'm saying right now. It is not a, oh, she's being a bitch now. No, she's being protective. There's people out there that want to do awful things with your energy. I know. I had one sucking me dry for 13 years. That's how I got there on those streets. And I just broke that cycle. And I'm happy. I'm content. My face is coming back. Everything that was done to me is starting to be reversed. I'm not gloating. I'm humble about it because at this point, like I said, I've been under so much attack for so long that I don't even feel it anymore. They could have a whole coven coming at me with death spells and I wake up next morning with a bit of a headache. That's about it. God calls me his human honey badger. I could take a venomous bite from a cobra, pass out for a few minutes, get right back up and eat the shit out of that snake. I hope you guys can do that shit too. But you won't have to take what I had to take. Your job will be a lot easier. But on the other side of that seesaw, put a little weight. See what happens. The best advice I could give you while I'm away from you. I learned a lot. I've really learned a lot. And I'm here to share it with you. So, take it or leave it. Do it or not. It's up to you. I'm just giving you keys. If you don't want to unlock those doors, stay there. Enjoy your life. Being cold, hungry, mistreated, treated like shit by the police. Have people look down on you. Have people, just treat you like a second-class citizen. If that's what you want, go for it. I know you all got a lot more in you than just that. Everyday life should not be a struggle. And the reason why you're struggling is because you haven't given enough credit to the one that can change it. So Take the time. Be grateful. Stop being a shithead. Stop stealing. Stop fighting and doing all these low vibrational things. Let things go. We're all struggling out there. Every single one of you are struggling in your own certain way. I had my own struggles. You had your own struggles. If you guys could bind together and try to manifest something together, make room for it. Sacrifice something. Not a child, not a kid, not an animal. Sacrifice a vice. Sacrifice a bad habit. Sacrifice not venting all your problems. When you come on the street and you're just, oh, you won't believe this, and da. If that's your life, don't expect it to change, because you're telling the universe you want more of that. When you look at your life and you go, hey guys, I've been through a lot of this shit, and yeah, that sucked, it happened, but I'm looking forward, I learned my lesson, I'm not going to even talk about it, let's just move on. I don't think a lot of you ever heard me complaining. I'd say my piece, I'd be done with it. That was it. You know, made an announcement that this person did this, and it kind of sucked. And then I'd go throw lights or dance or do whatever the hell I did and try to work through it. Find your passion without any expectation of the outcome. Do it. When I was throwing my lights, did I ever think I was going to get good at it or what? No, it was fun for me. I didn't want to be stuck there for 5 years watching you guys do the same hustle, the same shit over and over again, just doing it every day. And then being like, why doesn't this ever change? We're all the same. Somebody stole this and they stole that. And they steal because like attracts like. So if you're low vibrational and you steal, karma comes back. Karma's real. Karma is real. And somebody up in Carefree that would tell you karma's real. All right, I could tell you right now. So do what you need to. Take what I learned, put them into use, don't put them into use. I don't care. I'm just giving you what you may want. If you want to change, try some of these. Just try a couple. And just see what happens. You're out there for years. Do it for 3 months. See how much that changes you. But mark where you were before the use of it, and mark where you are after the use of it. It might be profound. So, I miss you all. I am absolutely, heartbroken that I'm not there with you guys. But at the same time, I know my worth. So when I come back into your energy and you want to treat me the same way you treated me on the street, that shit ain't gonna fly with me. I'll cut you out. And then you're gonna miss out on a lot of wisdom, a lot of fun, a lot of shows. You know what I do, dancing and throwing boy. And I got better equipment now. So you guys are gonna miss something good if you don't. Take care. Peace. Be warm. I know how cold Phoenix gets at this time. Sorry to take up a half an hour of your time. But I think for a half an hour, if you listen to this all the way through, you got some gems. Put them someplace safe and start using them. Put a little weight on the other side of that seesaw and start using it. A little praise here and pray there. And if you're really stuck, go out in the middle of nowhere. Get your YouTube on. Put out psalms, songs. Put your hands up in the air, because you want to be alone for this, because you're going to look stupid. Or at least the people in Phoenix are going to think you look stupid. But you know what? If more and more people start doing it and they understand that, wow, I got something after I did it. I got something. And it came quickly. I didn't even have to ask. It just walked up and dropped it in my lap. you start seeing that happening over and over again. And once you start seeing that happening over and over again, you start noticing that you put a lot of weight on the other side. That means you're rising. You're evolving. You're raising your vibration. And you only got 2 years for this before it's all going to hit, the shit's going to hit the fan. You want to be right with the one that's going to end the game in his favor. It's like a rigged football game, all right? Everybody's expecting this team to win because they have all this other stuff, but all the people who are rigging the game are putting the underdogs in because it's a 20-1, spread, and they're going to rig it so that wins. Once you can start seeing that life is very much the same thing, they'll put out they love to put out chaos and then come in with a solution that is going to hinder our rights and whatever, but we're going to ask for it because, God, we need to fix this solution. Well, they started that chaos to begin with. And it's kind of true of the streets. When one person does another person dirty, and then they retaliate and do that person dirty, maybe steal all their shit. Well, that person who got their shit stolen is going to have to steal other people's shit to replace that shit. It's a shit show. It's a shit show. Most of the time, if you need something, usually ask. When you ask, people are more willing to give you what you ask for. Because if you ask me for a C chord, and I give you one, and I go and start looking for it, and I go, oh, no, I gave it to so-and-so. I ain't going to spend my whole day spreading out my backpack looking for something that doesn't exist anymore. And that's just the universe, mostly the devil, getting his little out of you. Look at all that effort you're putting here because you stole that cord from that person. You got your cord stolen. Now look at you, scrambling and trying to do it. But when you ask me and I know where it is, then I don't have to scramble and try to look for where it is. And I'm able to do more and through my day. These are little changes that make big impacts. Big impacts. Look, I left in October. It's only February. And I've leveled up so much. I've learned so much. And I'm trying to share it with you guys. Try to share it with all of you. Whoever's watching this video, you may never have known me on the streets of Phoenix, but you understand that I might have some wisdom. I've been through some tough times. And I don't think anybody who is trying to influence others, who hasn't been through the shit themselves, they ain't going to be respected with their word. When somebody had a privileged life and they're telling you how to live your life when you're only been in poverty, they don't know shit. I lived it with you. And I'm coming out of it. And these are the keys that did it. You don't have to be super religious. What you have to do is be faithful. You got to put a little bit more towards him than you do for yourself. And you guys are very selfish. When you think about your tray, your tutor, your pills, your your weed, whatever. Less of that, more of God. And spirit, universe, however you want to put it. I hope this helps. I hope I change some lives. I hope I make you understand that your life has value. A lot of value. And God thinks it has a lot of value. When are you going to find out that you have value? Peace, guys. I miss you all. Take care.